In the year 1962, there's a famous failure that happened where a man by the name of Dick Rowe, who was one of the producers at Decca Records, saw a band of scraggly-haired people who had an amazing sound to them, but he decided not to sign them. Of course, what we're talking about is the Beatles. Dick Rowe and his assistant were watching two bands. Two bands were auditioning to have their future decided by Decca Records. And back then, if you wanted to get out in front of the masses, there were very few ways of doing it. Decca Records was a recording studio that was going to work with and help produce and create a career for one lucky band. And so they had two that came by on that day. One was the scruffy haired Beatles with their guitar sounds and all of the things that would end up turning into Beatlemania later on. The other one was a group called Brian Poole and the Tremolos. Now, most people focus in on what Dick Rowe missed. He missed the opportunity to sign the biggest band in the world. And some people say that he said, well, I'm not going to sign them because guitar music is a fad. It's going out of style. I don't think that happened because Brian Poole and the Tremolos were also a guitar band, but there's actually a few other reasons that they got signed. They were ready for the opportunity. They would end up singing songs like Twist and Shout, Do You Love Me? So these guys aren't slouches. But one thing that they did have is they had preparation. You see, when the Beatles showed up all scraggly and hung over and not feeling great, didn't look good, they didn't sound good, they didn't have their own amps, they didn't have anything. They just showed up and they played. Brian Poole and the Tremolos came dressed to the nines, looking good, hair done, teeth brushed, right? They looked good. They also sounded great. So they brought their own amps, they brought their own equipment, their own guitars, all of those things. And so here they are, when it was time for them to perform, they actually outshined the Beatles. And the reason why Dick Rowe and Decca Records signed them and not the Beatles is because they were told to only pick one. They couldn't sign two bands, so they picked one. And Brian Poole and the Tremolos looked better, they sounded better, they were more local, and they felt like this is a group that we can invest ourselves in deeply. And so that's how they were able to take the opportunity that was in front of them. They showed up with their best in the moment, even though they were facing really, like, they shouldn't have won. They should not have been able to do what they did. And do you know that if you will embrace what we're going to go through right now, the formula, you're going to win in scenarios where you shouldn't. You're going to beat other people that are better than you. And that's what we're talking about. It's not about the people. It's about you. And if you can embrace what it is that you're bringing and who it is that you're bringing to, you're going to find a path that's a little bit different.